Thank you for listening to the Gospel Road. I'm going to look at 1 Corinthians 2 today. I hope you are doing well. Hope you had a good weekend. Here we go. It says, "And I, when I come to you, brothers, did not come proclaiming to you the testimony of God with lofty speech or wisdom. For I decided to know nothing among you except Jesus Christ and Him crucified. And I was with you in weakness and in fear and much trembling, and my speech and my message were not in plausible words of wisdom, but in demonstration of spirit and of power, so that your faith might not rest in the wisdom of men, but in the power of God. Yet among the mature we do not impart wisdom, although it is not a wisdom of this age or of the rulers of this age, who are doomed to pass away, but we impart a secret and hidden wisdom of God, which God decreed before the ages for our glory. None of the rulers of this age understood this, for if they had, they would have not have crucified the Lord of glory. But as it is written, what no eyes have seen, nor ear heard, nor heart of man imagined, what God has prepared for those who love Him. These things God has revealed to us through the Spirit, for the Spirit searches everything, even the depths of God. For who knows a person's thoughts except the spirit of that person which is in him? So also no one comprehends the thoughts of God except the Spirit of God. Now we have received not the spirit of the world, but the Spirit who is from God, that we might understand the things freely given us by God. And we impart this in words not taught by human wisdom, but taught by the Spirit, interpreting spiritual truths to those who are spiritual. The natural person does not accept the things of the Spirit of God, for they are folly to him, and he is not able to understand them because they are spiritually discerned. The spiritual person judges all things, but it himself to be judged by no one. For who has understood the mind of the Lord so as to instruct him? But we have the mind of Christ." 1 Corinthians chapter 2. Wisdom. We all gain wisdom over time. We learn things, we understand things better, our jobs, families. I mean, just as we get older, we gain more wisdom, more knowledge, more understanding. Just like when you would read the Bible, you're going to gain more and more knowledge of God and the Spirit. Now, how you are going to use that wisdom on others or not accept what you read or understand, or how you're going to act when you see that. You know, we are all trying to do our best to help others be better and to kind of help people, support them when they're going through some rough times. And right now, we're all going through a really interesting time that we're trying to deal with. But at the same time, this is a piece that was just added on to whatever your issues were that you were dealing with before the virus became another worry. Many dealing with their parents and helping them, the older parents. I know I deal with that. And right now I'm dealing with yet another situation that I have to try and investigate and figure out to discern if it is good, bad, or not. At this point, with the information that I have, I'm leaning that it's not good and that, they've been scammed again. But again, you need to get all the details and all the information. You can't just pass the judgment. And again, we shouldn't be judging anyway because, you're going to be judged yourself. This is just so weird. It's like this all happened before I started recording this, so now my brain is in a completely different area. But it all still comes down to that wisdom. It comes down to understanding it. Again, when you're sitting at work and you see how something is happening and you know how it needs to work, and if it's not working that way, you have the knowledge to say something's not right here. I know I've dealt with it over the years, watching people that are doing like post-production work when putting a show together or a movie together. You know how this is supposed to come together. You do the same thing in and out every week. But then somehow you start skipping steps, or you start forgetting what those steps are. It's not always easy to deal with. I know for me, there's times that I'm dealing with situations of not remembering pieces, not remembering words. As they all say, as we get older, things change and we become slower, or I do anyway. But how are you using that wisdom to help others to be better, to kind of use that wisdom and have the, I don't really have a better way of saying it, but the politically correct, basically not accusing someone and then like when we were kids and your parents yelled at you because you did something wrong. Well, not saying that's always the right way of doing it, because it's better to have the conversation of, do you understand what you did wrong? Do you know what is happening? I know I have to have that conversation way too many times, and it wears on you. I mean, don't you think? I mean, how about for you when you're dealing with the same issues on a daily basis, day in, day out, and it's the exact same problems. It's not like it's something different. You're dealing with the exact same piece, and then after a while, you just kind of get exhausted. You're not wanting to deal with it anymore. I'll be honest, there's days that I just sit there and I'm going, if I just disappeared or ran away, just because you get tired of it's not even the monotony of dealing with life, it's the monotony of dealing with problems. I think we've all remembered the time where we've been heard that you have to keep telling somebody over and over and over again of how to do something, but you think after a while it would click to go, wait a minute, what did I do? What am I doing? It's sitting there and stopping and being very detailed. They always use that word when you're looking for a job of being detail-oriented. Paying attention to the details. Paying attention to go, kind of having that common sense of this just seems not right or too good to be true. If it's something that you're not really able to understand, you have a person that you can talk to and ask them to say, okay, now wait a minute. Before I make a decision on this, I need you to kind of follow me on my thoughts here. I mean, again, when you have a spouse that you're able to bounce those ideas off of, when you're at work, you usually have a coworker that you're able to talk to kind of say, hey, let's talk through this. I know that's something I do on a regular basis. Sometimes they will give an answer. Sometimes I come up with that on my own. It's just, I need to talk this through. I just need to have that conversation to be able to complete that thought, to know where we're going, what that next step is. Again, this comes with that knowledge of happening and doing things to learn. Thomas Jefferson said we should learn something new every day. And I think he was 70, 75, and he was still going to college, even with everything that he had already learned and teaching and all the other things. But he was still learning. And I know for me, I always am looking for something to learn. It just helps me. It just kind of, it's strengthening my brain, which is a muscle, so it's causing my mind to work. Just like the muscles in your arm and your leg when you're exercising to keep them strong, keep them healthy. So many things that we can look at to really share and help others as they're kind of learning sometimes it's not even just those that are younger, but it's even those that are older. And then at times we end up in situations where we now have to start holding people responsible, holding them accountable for what they're doing and going, do you really understand what you did? It's no different than if you're a person who's having problems with spending money and you are going to not a financial advisor, because they're going to help you advise you on where to make your investments for your retirement, but it's a credit counseling organization, which some are good, some are bad. You have to be careful with that. But I've had friends that have done that, and they have that weekly meeting with their credit counselor, again, holding them accountable to make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to be doing, paying off the bills that need to be paid off in the timely fashion of what that plan was that they wrote, that they put down in front of them to go, okay, here's where we are, here's where we're ending up, and this is the plan to get there. You do that because you're able to help put that plan together when you're at work and you're helping, you're working with your coworkers, you're a manager, you're putting that plan together with someone on your team to go, here's where you want to go. This is what your idea is at the end of the next 6 months or the next year of where you want to grow, where you want to exceed, what you want to do better. It's putting that together and being able to share the information. And many times it's something I know I will have conversations with friends. I'm saying, now, when you do this, make sure you do not. Not saying I have many answers, but when it comes to certain things that I've done, like radio or other pieces, even taxes, I kind of have a pretty wide variety of jobs that I've worked over the years. But it's like I say this to say, don't forget to do this, only because I have forgotten to do that. Or I have messed it up. So you're learning from my mistakes. And I'm trying to help you not make the same mistake I did. I know I've heard over learning from history. And if you do not learn from history, you're going to repeat history. It's a very loose way of the statement that I've heard, but it's true. Gaining the knowledge, learning the history, finding out how things happened, why they ended up the way they did, to choose something different and better so you're able to not make those errors, so you do not stumble to try to get to that successful end quicker, or to even become a success to where someone else may have failed and they kept trying and things happened before they were actually able to make it to where they needed to go. Wisdom, sharing that, and the right way of sharing it. Not always with the finger pointing and you're wrong, but having that conversation to encourage and inspire and to motivate. Not saying some people like that, but that's not something that works for everyone. 1 Corinthians chapter 2. As always, read it for yourself. What is it that speaks to you? To me, again, as I'm sharing, as I was reading, it's that wisdom factor, sharing the knowledge to understand where it is that you are going, what you need to do, what you need to know. As parents, we give that wisdom to our kids to help them. Not even that, maybe you don't, I have kids, but you have nieces and nephews, then you still share that information with them to help them do better, to help them understand, to just help teach. 1 Corinthians 2. Read that today. How does it speak to you, and how does it help you to be that better person, to be able to share that, to help others be better, building them? Thank you for listening to the Gospel Road. Have a great day. God bless.